Russell clocked winds at 100 to 120 mile an hour that afternoon, and I've never seen wind and fire like that. There was so much stuff falling out of the air that was burning maybe 2 miles ahead of the fire. It caught anything that was ignitable on fire. Burnt the house here that I grew up in here at headquarters, and it burnt my daughter and son-in-law's house across the road and all of the wood buildings on that farm. I think there were roughly 400 dead cows. I'm Kenneth Stielow. I live at Paradise, Kansas. Well, it was a really windy day, and the wind came up harder and harder, and we smelled smoke right after lunch, and I went west to see where it was, if we were in danger. And at that time, the wind was out of the south, and it didn't look like we would be in line of the fire. But the wind shifted later out of the southwest, and then it came across us. From the time we smelled smoke and I went and saw where the fire was, probably about an hour it was here. I don't know, Russell clocked winds at 100 to 120 mile an hour that afternoon. My daughter and son-in-law were helping some neighbors move some livestock, got caught in the middle of it, and pretty much burnt a pickup up, the wind rolled the stock trailer off the side of the road, and then they got out into a wheat field and made it through a fire truck showed up about the same time, so they all got stranded out in the middle of a wheat field, and the fire truck had shot water around over them, and until the fire burned on past them. I got back to my house, which is about 2 miles from here, told the family, you got to get the Russell away out of the line of fire. And so they made it to Russell all right. My house, it didn't burn. It burnt the house here that I grew up in here at headquarters, and it burnt my daughter and son-in-law's house across the road and all of the wood buildings on that farm. The next morning, you came out of town not knowing what you was gonna find. And all of the buildings here, other than the house at headquarters, made it through. Kind of the key was if they were metal buildings with a metal roof or metal clad buildings, they made it. If they had wood exposed at all or composition shingle roof, there was so much stuff falling out of the air that was burning maybe 2 miles ahead of the fire. It caught anything that was ignitable on fire. On the hill north of here, there is about a 3/4 of a mile windbreak that my grandfather planted in the 1920s, and it just decimated it. And all of our grass, we operate on about 13,000 acres, probably 10,000 of that's grass. And when it was all said and done, all of the grass burned except one half section that we rent between here and Russell.
My name's Ethan Dickerson. I'm 24 and from Paradise, Kansas. Born and raised here, went to Natoma High School. Then I went to Butler Community College and majored in ag business. And then I came back to the ranch and just been farming here alongside my grandpa and my dad ever since. There was a lot of cell service that was down that day, and I know that it had a lot to do with the wind, and power was in and out, more often out than in, but I was right here around the headquarters, more so trying to figure out information on where the fire was, what I needed to do to maybe if I needed to move cows or something like that. And by the time I figured out where the fire was, it was pretty much here. And where I knew it had started from was 20 plus miles away. So I knew that the fire was moving a lot faster than I could do anything to stop it or to prevent any other damages. So I got my grandmother and my uncle and we got out of here. And as we pulled out the driveway, the fire crested the hill, and we were running the fire for 2 miles before we hit the highway. And then I took them into Russell, and well, actually as I made it through the river valley, I hit a deer in my grandma's car, smoked it. She was not very happy, but it happens, I guess. And then I took them into town, and as soon as I got into town, I was trying to figure out how to get back out. And at that point, the fire had kind of slowed up, and they'd got the head fire slowed down and stopped, but the wind changed directions from the southwest to straight out of the north, the same as it did in the Texas fire here this spring. And I knew that the fire was gonna come south. How fast, I didn't know, but I knew that we had pastures and cows that hadn't burned that were in the line of fire. And I came back out, caught cows, put them in dry lot pens, and then that's when the fire started jumping south pretty fast. And I headed back into town, running the fire again. Had to go through the fire in a couple portions, melted mirrors on the pickups, broke out windows, and I turned down a road that I hadn't been down previously getting out of the fire. I didn't know that the wind had knocked down all of the telephone poles across the road. So I jumped like 10 telephone poles, and I think they were live electric wires. I don't know, they weren't sparking, but ran out of the telephone poles. I think I only had 2 tires that were still up at that point. I ditched the pickup in a field, and then my friends picked me up and went back in. It knocked out every window in the pickup except for the windshield. It melted my air filter. Like I said, knocked out a bunch of tires. I think I had, out of the 6 tires that I originally had, I had 1 front tire and 1 dual that was still up. And after that, I had to replace a lot of tires to get it going, but that pickup kept running. The fire in 2021, it did a lot of good for the trees. It killed a lot of them. There was so much heat to it that it killed a lot. When there was enough other fuel for it to burn, because a cedar tree won't burn on its own. It has to have something to start that. On the pastures that were grazed tight or in a rocky situation, some of those trees, there just wasn't enough heat there and enough fuel right next to it for that to burn. So although, say there was 10 trees in one pasture, there may just be 1 that's still left. But we need to work on going out and getting that 1 tree so there isn't a mother tree for more to start. And that's something that Ray has talked about a lot, is the fire helped us out tremendously in the tree situation here, but we need to use it helping us out so that way we don't let it get bad again before we actually take care of the problem.
My name is Ray Gonzalez. I'm the Supervisor District Conservationist for Management Unit Russell. I work with Natural Resource Conservation Service, Area 1. Area 1 is, the area office is in Hays, Kansas. My 3 counties as a management unit is Russell County, Ellis County, and Trigo County. We're located right down on the Miller Ranch, in the north part of Russell County, in the vicinity of Paradise Town. On December 15th, when we're talking about the Fork County fire, if we would pan out and look at behind us and all around us was in flames. Of course, we couldn't see it, but we knew it was burning. We're standing right here. The fire came through. With the footage, you could see with the carcasses of the cedar trees, the carcasses of oak trees have been destroyed. NRCS involvement in as far as my staff and my office's staff, we were dealing with animal mortality out here. The cattle, we had a lot of cattle, a lot of carcasses out in the fields. We assisted through EQIP in funding and disposing of these carcasses to prevent health and disease amongst the surviving livestock that we had. And that was a great opportunity to help the community with the assistance of NRCS and USDA. The assistance we did play a big part in is we played a liaison. NRCS played liaison, and the staff members in the field offices played liaison with the state programs. And the state programs, they helped us and helped the producers plant cover crops. We planted cover crops using state funds to increase or help with the grazing needs that we were going to have come the spring. And so the grass was needing time to recover from the fire.
NRCS and FSA have a lot more disaster mitigation programs than they used to have. You know, there was a time with the amount of cattle that were lost and hay that was lost, if it wasn't for volunteer people bringing in, it would have devastated this whole community. I mean, there would just been nothing left to rebuild. And with some of the disaster payments and payments for loss of hay and cattle, you know, they don't make you whole, but they allow you to keep going. And I'm really thankful for that.